don't know. Like, we in there trying to return stolen artifacts. So
he bet on himself, and it was a bad bet, right? It was a horrible bet. This is Shannon and Max, and you have tuned into In Our Bag, Winning, Wealth, and Wanderlust podcast. On this episode, we discuss why now is the best time to travel to Europe, and when betting on yourself pays off in sports contracts. Welcome to In Our Bag, Winning, Wealth, and Wanderlust. And today on our episode, Max will be talking about her trip to Paris, why it may be a good time to travel to Europe, and we will talk about athletes knowing their worth, those that bet on themselves and it actually works and pays off, and some not so much. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into our primary topic for today, and that's going to be Max's upcoming trip to Paris. We're going to dive a little bit into Europe, why it's a good time right now. And so, Max, you going on a nice little trip over to France. Tell me why you going to Paris, and what you're looking forward to.
Well, normally when I take trips, I am a beach person. So I was actually trying to find places that were a little bit different from my standard destination. Like I hopped all over the Caribbean and stuff like that. So I was looking for something that wasn't necessarily a warm, hot weather beach destination. And I, was thinking about, what type of places could I go to that weren't really, the same typical standard trip that I normally take. So I thought about Europe. And then I was like, well, I have personal reasons for kind of not wanting to go to Europe. I kind of wanted to explore Africa a little bit before I went to Europe. So I was kind of avoiding it.
I'm with you on that.
But, just listening to financial stuff and finding out that the dollar now is trading higher than the euro, I was like, well, maybe I could take advantage of, the exchange rate and go to Europe for a little bit cheaper than I would normally go to Europe for. So right now, the dollar is 102 to 1. So you get a little bit more on the exchange rate. And in the past, probably 5-6 years ago, the exchange rate was like $1 would only get you like 68 cents in euros.
Yeah, in euros. Yeah. I can tell you the last time I was in Europe was about 10 years ago. And then at that time, I want to say the euro was actually, let me see. Yeah, 10 years ago for the exchange rate for the euro was like 76 cents.
Okay, so $1 would get you 76 euros, 76 cents with the euro. Yeah. So that's that's a big difference. Like for me, that's like saving 25 cents on every dollar for a typical hotel or whatever. If you convert that could turn out to be a pretty big savings.
For sure.
So I was like, well, no time like the present. Let me hop to it. And, and Paris is definitely a bucket list destination. I mean, everyone has Paris on their list. It has plenty of tourist attractions. Of course, the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the Arc de Triomphe. Famous avenues, and then shopping. So, going back to the dollar value right now, even if you went to Europe, or even if you're shopping online, right, and you put in France in your shipping location for like, let's say a standard, and I looked this up, so I'll be prepared, but like a standard never full Louis Vuitton bag, in the U.S. is $2,030, right? In euros, if you put it in, like let's say you change your shipping destination to France, it's only 1,500 euros. So if you convert that, that's only $1,470. So, just in terms of shopping, I'm saving $560 getting my bag by going overseas, and that's like almost 2/3 the price of my flight. So it's like if I go over there and buy a bag, it's kind of going to even it out. So I figured it was a good time to go and take advantage of that shopping thing.
Right.
The other reason I kind of chose to go now is, and I said this in when we did our last episode. If you haven't seen that one, go check it out. I gave 5 good fall travel destinations. And what I said in that video was that I like to go things that, I like to travel places when it's kind of like the off season, not necessarily the low season, but kind of like in the shoulder season, which would be between the high and the low season. So the weather isn't terrible. It's not the best weather, but the crowds is what I'm trying to avoid. So during the fall in Paris, I'm hoping that I could get less crowds at those really, really famous tourist attractions. Like I want to see the Mona Lisa, of course, and it'd be good to not have to stand in line for 2 hours to see that. So I'm trying to see if I can get in on some of those good tourist destinations, with less people.
For sure. I don't want to spoil it for you, but the Louvre is amazing. The Louvre was definitely amazing. Yes, I did see the Mona Lisa. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
I heard it's smaller than you think. I already heard that. So, you still got to go see it for yourself.
Yeah, you gotta see it. You gotta see it. I mean, the room that it's in is large, and depending on the crowds, you gotta kind of push your way through just to see it.
Yeah, see, I'm praying that I don't have to deal with that part.
Hopefully the crowds are definitely not, it's not as many people there this time of the year as you talk about the whole shoulder season. So hopefully that's the case. But the Louvre is a must. I mean, so much history there, so much to see. It's a huge museum. So that's a definite. So that's good. You said you're going to check out the Eiffel Tower.
Definitely going to check out the Eiffel Tower. The Arc de Triomphe. Yeah.
Food is good. The food is good too, though.
Yeah, and I definitely, I definitely like to try different foods. So that's, I need to give me a French croissant, crepe.
Make sure you get you a crepe.
Escargot. I might venture out there and try some snails.
You like we normally don't when we drink or whatever, we normally don't drink wine. But do you like champagne or wine? Or I was gonna say,
I'm honestly not really a wine person. But I'm gonna try to be sophisticated and have some wine while I'm out there.
Yeah, get you some, but make sure it's aged though. Make sure you get you something aged. It's crazy. I had brought back a bottle, and it was already because the last time I was in Paris was 2012, and it was already like 10 years old when I got it. I was saving it for a special occasion, and I've had several special occasions come and go. I still haven't popped it. So maybe some point, I don't know, maybe we'll have a special occasion at some point. We can probably share it together or whatever. But the food is good. I mean, it's good culture.
Yeah, speaking of culture, one of the things that I definitely wanted to check out in Paris was the Black people or the Black side. They have a Little Africa area in Paris that I'm going to check out. And I heard they have some good food places over there that I need to check out. I also heard they have like good Senegalese food, good Ethiopian food. So I'm not just going to try the French food. I'm going to try some of the other ethnic food that they have over there.
And I will tell you, it's a little different from how, like, when we go and sit down and eat, like, we're, Americans, we tend to be like timely, and American restaurants, for the most part, they're trying to push us along so they can get more people in. It's more about the experience for them. So they're not in a rush to serve you, so to speak. Like it's an experience. So that's something just to be aware of. Because they may take a little longer to get to you. I'm just letting you know.
Okay, so need to lose my American impatience and just enjoy being out there.
And I'm interested in knowing how your experience is going to be. I really loved and enjoyed Paris. There was only one thing I really didn't like about Paris, and I don't think I'm the only one to say this, and I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm not. But I found that they were kind of rude, and I don't know if they were just rude because they knew I was American or what. And I'm not talking about like New York, get out my space rude. I'm talking like, yeah, a little nasty rude. So,
well, were you speaking French? Because I heard that
I did. I started out speaking French initially.
Okay.
I mean, but you can kind of tell when people don't have like.
I know, but I heard that they get kind of offended, like if you don't even try to speak French, like
so
even if you just gave them a, merci beaucoup or something that they would appreciate.
Yeah. So I mean, I really did try. Now I will say, not everybody that I went with tried. And so, sometimes that has something to do with it. It's similar, and I'll tell you, this is off topic, but I'll tell you, Montreal, which is a heavily French-speaking city in Canada, Quebec, Canada, you pretty much have to do the same thing there, right? Once you open up with French, they're a little bit more welcoming, but I will tell you, even when you weren't speaking French in Montreal, they weren't quite.
They were nicer.
Parisians. But you may have a different experience. Like I said,
Canadians have
the people that I was with also weren't really making an attempt to try to speak French.
Right.
Yeah, but no, that's cool. So where are you only going to Paris?
Well, for the most part, I'm going to Paris. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do. They have like I think it's called Blacks in Paris tour. So I'm trying to decide if I really want to take half of my days and do that tour. Because I, would be interested in hearing about like James Baldwin in Paris, Josephine Baker, who else? I think Richard Wright spent time in Paris. Sydney Bechet. So I'm kind of interested in that stuff. So but I don't know if I want to spend. I'm only going to be there like 4 or 5 days. I don't know if I want to spend a whole half a day. And that may sound bad, but honestly, I don't know if I want to spend a whole half a day on that tour. It's from 10 to 3. So that's pretty much,
It might be worth it though, man.
Yeah, I'm still deciding. I have it on my list, but I haven't pulled the trigger on deciding yet. So I'll figure it out. I don't like to have a definite firm itinerary,
right?
But I do like to have an idea of what I possibly want to do every day, and then stuff like that I may need to book in advance because it may sell out. Right. Oh, I want to ask you about that. When you went, did y'all book your tourist stuff in advance, or did you just wait till you got there?
So we didn't really do. Well, we did. So let me back up. We did. It was a little different because we went to multiple cities.
Mm-hmm.
We did do London. We did Paris. We did Rhineland, Germany. Lucerne, Switzerland. And so, yes, most of our stuff was booked in advance. There were a few things that we were able to do, the day of, but I would suggest that you also do it in advance. And the reason why I say that is because places like that, even though it may be shoulder season, because what's this? Yeah, I went in early September also, and still with some crowds. I know this was later in September, just to be on this. Kind of on the same side, I would probably.
Yeah, I think, but the only reason, and I'm fine with booking it in advance, but the only reason why I'm hesitant is because, you kind of want to be able to be fluid and, maybe change plans.
Yeah.
So
maybe just a suggestion, maybe pick a few things or maybe one thing to maybe book in advance and, kind of let everything else kind of.
Maybe I'll just book the Louvre in advance because I've definitely got to do that, and I definitely probably do that in the morning sometime.
Right. Yeah, I would suggest that. Yeah, I would suggest the morning there.
Yeah.
The gardens there are really nice too by the Louvre, just to kind of take in some pictures and just the environment. But yeah, everything we did for the month. There was only a few things that we did the day of, but everything else was kind of booked in advance.
Okay.
But I like spontaneous travel too, though. So I kind of like just kind of knowing what's around, but not necessarily saying I got to be here at this time. It gives you more flexibility to still explore other things. So yeah.
Yeah, but when it's stuff that, that's going to sell out and you just got to bite the bullet. I mean, that happened to me actually in Hawaii too. Like I was told that you need to book everything in advance. So I booked all this stuff. And then sometimes I was just too exhausted. Like, why did I book all this stuff? Like, and then you don't want to waste your money because you got to book and pay.
Right.
So it's like, ugh. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess the other way of looking at it too is when's the next time you're going to be back in Paris?
Yeah,
right?
it's probably won't be a while.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah,
you know, I'm honestly, the Louvre might piss me off. Like, I might pull a Killmonger in there and just, you know, try to return some shit to Egypt or something. I don't know. Like, be in there trying to return stolen artifacts. So,
one of the countries that I did say that Max and I have been to together. Well, we didn't go together. We've been at some point. Is the Netherlands, also known as Holland, or the place where the Dutch reside. No pun intended there. So how'd you like Amsterdam? Well, and so the city that we've been to in the Netherlands is Amsterdam. There's other cities like Rotterdam and a few others, but Amsterdam, of course, is the most popular. So how did you like Amsterdam, man?
Yeah, I loved Amsterdam. It was a nice city. Very beautiful landscape. I mean, I love the way it's laid out. You know, I like that you could, you know, walk and bike ride everywhere. It's very cool, very interesting.
Oh yeah, you get ran over by.
Yeah, them bikes
bikes is mean.
They definitely have the right of way. I mean, over cars, over people. They just.
Yes. Yeah. It's more bike lanes and people. If you step out in that crosswalk. And them bikes are coming, you in trouble. Like for real. I've seen a lot of people got hit. A lot of tourists clearly got hit because they didn't understand. You know, funny thing about the bikes, you know, because that's like their primary means of transportation. They have like how we have parking garages. I don't know if you saw these, but they have bike garage. Like you park your bike. Like bike garages.
Yeah, and it'd be like, well, even on the street, it was like. You know, hundreds of bikes just parked in, you know, in all type of different areas. So, yeah.
I've even seen, like, I saw this later. I didn't see this while I was there, but because I really liked Amsterdam. And at one point, I mean, man, if it didn't get cold there, it was a place that I had considered moving to, actually. But I had looked up, like, one, because some of the bikes all look the same. Like, one, how do they know it's their bike? You know, but people have all types of gadgets and tech stuff for their bikes, like alarm systems and you know, same types of things you would have for your car, like things that alert you or whatever they have for their bikes. I just thought it was really fascinating. So like when you go out at night to a bar or to a club or to a restaurant, everybody's biking it. So I was like, can you get a DUI or DWI on the bike? Like, I don't know. It's just because the other thing I noticed is people know how to have a good time there. Right. So, for the obvious reasons that people know about Amsterdam, but for just the social nightlife in general, I saw that, you know, people kind of carefree. The food is amazing.
The food, man. I mean, even just basic stuff like just eggs.
Yes.
I think it was this place that I probably went to 2 or 3 times because it was a pancake place, but just eggs, bacon, just basic stuff. You can just tell there's so much, you know, I don't know if it's fresher, just higher quality food. It was really good. Really good.
So I definitely think it's fresher.
Yeah.
It tastes fresher.
Yeah.
I even remember and I'll never forget this, and I probably will never be able to have this experience again, even if I were to go back today. But I'll never forget the group that I was with. We all went out, and it was like just a regular pub. And I ordered some nachos, just some nachos. When I tell you, it was the best damn nachos I ever had in my life. Man. like everything was so fresh. Yeah. I mean, it was I believe it. And so, you know, it's a running joke with some folks I know at my job. We talk about, you know, they was like, well, that's because it's all laced with something, right? But no, I just think it's fresher. I think it's fresher. Soft drinks taste differently, or sodas or whatever. I mean, I'm not a soda drinker now, but I have had I had soda there, and it tastes different. Heineken, like. I refuse to drink a Heineken in the U.S. because I had a Heineken from Amsterdam. Yeah. It doesn't even taste like the same beer.
I think I remember you saying that before I even went over there talking about that Heineken.
Yeah. If I could have a Heineken from Amsterdam every day, I would. It was very crisp. I refuse to drink it. The Heineken here almost it tastes like skunk or something. Like it doesn't taste. It's very not fresh. And so yeah. But anyway, yeah, I love Amsterdam too. I love Amsterdam too. I like
definitely go back there. That's one place in Europe that I would go to more than once.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I was probably surprised at how many people of color was there too. I was a little bit surprised about that.
I think it was mostly tourists, but it was quite a few when I was there also. But I assume they were mostly tourists. So.
I ran into a few people who lived there. There's not that many, but I was just a little surprised. But people were welcoming. So unlike my opinions about Paris, Parisians, the people in Amsterdam were actually really, really nice.
You had the Parisians in the comments screaming at us.
I don't mean no harm. I mean, and if they are, then tell me why. You know, I mean, you know, tell us why.
This was before Trump, or let me not.
Well, yeah, we're not gonna go there, but yeah, you know. And look, I'm not naive. I know how people feel about Americans, you know, all over the world, and how some people perceive, because some of that is perception too. Right. How people perceive Black Americans, right? And so, you know, some of it, I don't necessarily get it, but I do understand that, you know, their perception is maybe, let me not say it may be skewed, right? And so, which is also why I try to really look up like places when I go, kind of, you know, get the vibe and, you know, see what their customs are, which is how I knew it's good to start out speaking in French, you know, or learn what some of the customs are. I mean, when we went to Thailand, which that probably could be a whole episode in and of itself.
That might be 2-3 episodes. That was
we went to Thailand, right? We learned the phrases, right? We learned the language.
You learned the phrases.
Well, I wanted to make sure. Yes, I did. Okay, put it on me.
I still can't remember, and I still be trying to this day. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That sounds familiar. That's it.
Yeah, but no. So. You know, I at least try to make an effort, because I don't want them to perceive, you know, unfortunately, like how some Americans perceive people who come here from other countries, right? Which, you know, I think there's a lot of arrogance in that, and you know, I don't. Yeah, I don't try to give it any credence or let it grow any legs. But yeah, I thought the people of Amsterdam were really nice. I thought they were really nice. Yeah. Really nice and welcoming. And then the last thing I'll say about Amsterdam, and I don't know what it is, and maybe it's my affinity for water, because I like water, but I kind of really love the infrastructure and layout of the city and how it's built on canals and all of that stuff. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's so picturesque. Like everywhere is like a photograph, you know? Like, everywhere you turn, it's like, damn, I need a picture of this. I need a picture of that. Like, really, really picturesque city. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So we didn't give Europe a lot of love this episode. Yeah, like a lot of love. and you know, as I did mention, kind of like how you said, you know, it is one of our desires to go to Africa. And, you know, we really thought we were going to be able to go to Cape Town in 21 to celebrate New Year's, and COVID happened. And so, you know, we're still going to get there. We'll get there. But we did, you know, to one of the countries on the continent of Africa, or multiple countries, actually, because, you know, we're on a mission to get as many places as we can.
I'm been waiting to tell you, but I think I want to go to Tanzania or Egypt in 2023.
Oh yeah. We could do that. We could do that for sure. So we'll definitely be talking about that as well. But yeah, we gave Europe a lot of love, and so, you know, being able to travel is one of our passions. Another one of our passions is sports, and so I really been thinking about this. We've talked about this with all of these contracts or salary information about athletes. I thought it was quite interesting. A lot of people have talked down about this guy for numerous reasons. He's a recent NBA champion. He just won his fourth ring. It is 4, right? Because he won 1 by himself. He won 2 with KD. Yeah, it would be the 4th. Ooh. So it's his 4th ring. And a lot of people don't give this guy a lot of credit, but man, Steph Curry and $1 billion lifetime deal with Under Armour. What you think about that?
That's a hell of a deal, man. I mean, I don't know the details of the terms, but I don't see, how it could be a bad deal.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know anybody who would leave that money on the table.
Right. That's what everyone aspires to get to that big B. So they offering it to you. I mean, I would like to read up and see how it's structured. Like, what does that mean? What is upfront? What does he have to do? Does he have to do a certain amount of shoes? Or whatever.
Yeah, and I tried to
how are they going to pay out $1 billion?
Well, I tried to get a little bit more details on it too, to kind of understand also how it was structured.
Right.
Unlike, for example, I think Allen Iverson, with his deal with Reebok, like they worked it in, which was good for him because he blew through money. Right. But they worked it in with him that once he turned 50, he can get the remainder of his contract, right? And I want to say, what was that like?
I think it was like 50 million. Like it's not a low number.
I mean, but it's a significant amount because had he got it early enough, he probably would have blew it all.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, and one might argue, well, is he still going to, I'm not going to say he's going to blow it, but at least
it don't really matter. I'm sure he's fine.
Right.
Whichever way it is. But
but
the other thing is, if he would have had better financial literacy, if he would have got that money 20 years ago, that same 30, 50 million would be worth who knows, right?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Because I wonder what Reebok invested in or what they did to ensure that whatever they was putting, they probably took that 30 million and they probably made 200 million in that 20 years. And now they only breaking him off that, returns off of that. So you got to look at it that way too.
Right. And I was going to say, I'm sure they made a good grip off of the Answer shoe when it was out. I mean, a lot of ballers had that shoe. Yeah. Or non-ballers, right? People bought the shoe. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, like I've kind of even seen it coming back. I've seen people wearing it, right?
Yeah, I think they recently released a pink one or something. I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I think as we're talking about athletes and what they worth, and how it's paid off for some and how it hasn't paid off for some, like betting on yourself. You have athletes who think they're worth more maybe than what the market is asking for. Like Dennis Schroder. He
fumbled that bag.
And the Lakers, the crazy thing is the Lakers were willing to give him the extension in the 2021 season. They were trying to get this man $80 million and he was trying to get more. And to be honest, I don't remember who else was a free agent that year or who else had a big contract that year. But I'm like, dude, 80 million. I want to say that contract was way more than his previous contract was. And for him to leave the Lakers and I'll take the $80 million extension because I want to say he was trying to, whatever amount he was getting, clearly the market didn't call for it. And so I think he wound up going to the Celtics for like less than 6. I want to say it was like 5.9 million or something like that for 1 year. Only to come back to the Lakers after being with the Celtics last year for 2.4, 2.6 million or something like that. It's in my notes somewhere. Yeah, I mean it's like 2.64. He bet on himself and it was a bad bet. Right. It was a horrible bet. And so I wonder sometimes, because people talk about how you should have agent representation, right?
Right. Did he have an agent?
I believe he has an agent.
Well, he need to fire him.
Well, yeah, that's my right. So in contract, so let's talk about it, right? So they talk about how you need to have an agent, right? But yet, how does this type of thing happen? How do you go from having 80 million on the table, and to 2 years removed, you making 2.64 million, but you have an agent representing you? Like, how does that happen? Right? I don't understand it.
Well, how did he perform with the Celtics also?
Well, so I think he averaged like 14 points a game last year. But the year he was with the Celtics, I think he only averaged like 15 points a game. It wasn't very much different. I mean, the fact that the Lakers were willing to give him the 80 million, I think was great. I'm almost speechless and trying to get it out. Like, so it's like, so was this your agent trying to get a money grab, or was this you trying to get a money grab? And I don't know. I just think and maybe I shouldn't call it a money grab, right? Was there a disconnect? Was there a disconnect somewhere, right? And I always really wanted to know the nuance. I mean, I know it ain't Jerry Maguire like type stuff for real, but I always really wanted to know the nuance. Like, how do you know when pushing too much is too much?
Right.
And how do you know that, someone who's supposed to be representing you may not be representing you in your best interest?
Right.
Right. Which brings me to like Lamar, right? Lamar doesn't have an agent, right? It's him and his mother, right? Really, his mother is doing the management. I mean, I'm sure he's telling her, what he's comfortable and not comfortable with. But, everybody's up in arms because he doesn't have an agent, right? And actually, I don't blame him for wanting the money that he wants, with an agent or not, because the Ravens offering him like 133 guaranteed. This makes absolutely no sense when you got a guy who's already been an MVP. I think Lamar's like 24, or I don't think Lamar's 20. If he's 25, I need to look up his age. But
he definitely need to be getting more than Deshaun Watson.
Yo, Deshaun is getting 230 guaranteed.
Yeah.
They offered him 133 guaranteed for 5 years. 133. That's less than Kyler Murray. That's less than Russell Wilson. That's less than. I mean, look. I don't know if they trying to play this dude because he don't have an agent. I don't know if that's the, and I know they're trying to throw around, but the 5 year, 276 million. Yeah, but that don't really mean nothing if it's not the guaranteed money.
Right.
Right. And so, and I get it. People trying to say Deshaun Watson is an anomaly, right? Cleveland never should have paid that much for him. But the reality is they did pay that much for him.
Right. So you set a standard.
Yo, I hope it pays off for Lamar. I hope he doesn't get injured. Like, I really, really hope he doesn't get injured. And I hope it pays off for him, much like it's going to pay off for Derek, much like it's about to pay off for Aaron Judge here in a second, because New York Yankees, and this is a sidebar, but the New York Yankees didn't want to pay him last year, and they about to have to pay because he about to get, paid.
Yeah.
Big money. But yeah, so he's one that I would say gambled on himself, and it's about to pay off for him. He's about to get a mega deal, like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. Baseball owners, they don't have problem paying out that guap. Like, they pay.
Yo, some of these contracts have been astronomical.
Yeah.
I mean, you might want to, if you got your son playing football, you might want to play baseball.
My nephew into baseball. It's less injury and shoot, just hit the ball, son. Hit the ball.
Yeah. And also, and I know this is kind of going off topic, but you might want to stick with baseball and tennis, maybe. I don't know, but yeah.
Right.
Some of these sports, yeah. I don't.
Right.
But I will say,
to Europe and play football.
even football or soccer. They got some big contracts.
They get paid.
Them contracts is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a whole lot of teams too. I'm like, how many teams is it? Yeah,
them European League contracts is out of this world too.
Yeah.
You're right. they're up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I always find it fascinating. And like I said, some people like, oh, Lamar should have an agent, right? I'm like, yeah, but is the agent always really trying to do the best thing for the client? At the end of the day, yeah, the agent is going to make a percentage of what that payout is, but what's the balance, right?
Right.
And I don't really know the answer to that because I don't know the ins and outs of sports agency. Like I really
I wanted to be an agent. That was what I wanted to be at one point in my life.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, probably like at the end of high school. Probably around, I don't know. Probably influenced by some movie. I don't know if it was Jerry Maguire or something, but I did want to be a sports agent at one time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing about sports agency, though, one thing I do know is you better know how to read contracts.
Yeah.
You better know how to read them. You better know how to, dissect them and draft them because all that
they be trying it, loopholes and all type of craziness.
People be trying to bury stuff in the contract.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, you definitely gotta have that. And even if you're not gonna have an agent, I think it's also good to have a lawyer, look over your contract.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I know that we, and there are numerous players who kind of bet on themselves and it worked out for them, and then there's quite a few of them not so much. But I thought that Dennis Schroder one was definitely one like, man, all that money left on the table. And it's unfortunate. I mean, I guess one thing, 2.64 isn't.
It ain't something.
264,000, right? It ain't 26,000. I mean, it's still a good piece of money.
That's true.
Yeah, but even like Odell Beckham, who took his salary in Bitcoin. Like, did you hear about that? It's a few other athletes who did that. I mean,
it'll pay off. Well, it could pay off if taking their salary this year in Bitcoin, taking it last year in Bitcoin.
Yeah. Now, if they took it in Bitcoin like now,
taking it in Bitcoin now, And I'm sure they might not report this, but I'm sure a lot of them have changed their mind at this point because people's confidence about stuff, especially crypto, and we talked about that in the earlier.
We talked about that last episode. Yeah.
People's confidence in that whole ecosystem is really, really tanked. And it's going to take, and this is how, greed and fear. So we're on the fear side of the greed and fear index. Like everybody's scared, it's uncertainty. So I don't think I would take, honestly, and I'm a crypto person, I don't think I would take my salary in Bitcoin. Maybe half or maybe a quarter of it.
Maybe.
Something like that.
Maybe. Yeah, I think it's too risky. To do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe a portion. But I kind of wonder how, because a lot of those guys who did do that were also heavy into like NFT projects and other crypto projects as well. And matter of fact, Steph is heavy into Steph Curry is heavy into some crypto projects as well.
Yeah.
But he ain't taking his payments in no crypto.
No, I mean, all of them bought them Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs with the monkey. So I mean, I know all of those values tanked at least by a third. Bitcoin, I mean, ETH was all the way up to almost 4,000, and now it's trading like 15, 13ish. So just off of that alone, that's more than 60%. Oh, damn! So
for sure, sure. Well, this brings us to the end of our episode. As always, we really appreciate you coming by and listening to our show. There's so many podcasts out there, and we just want to thank you for that. So thank you for listening to In Our Bag, Winning Wealth and Wanderlust. Please subscribe, follow, like, and share. And yes, make sure you come back for our next episode. Our next episode will be on wealth, what it means to you. We'll talk about what it means to us, and we're also going to explore the types of wealth. I don't know if we really think about it as being more than one thing, but we'll explore that a little bit more on the next episode. So I'm Shannon, and this is
Matt.
And until next week, when we get in our bag, definitely come back.